So we're going to talk about blended families. So what comes to mind initially when you think of a blended family?
Divorce.
Yes. Divorce and remarriage. So something
Stepchildren,
how do you blend that all together?
Yes.
And so I can speak to that because that is my circumstance. I do have a blended family. And after 23 years of marriage, my husband at that time chose to move on with other things and someone else. So that left me in a situation with 2 college kids and being single. So that I never ever dreamed I would be, and this is just kind of being a transparent, honest conversation.
Yes.
You know, because that's real
Nobody
life.
goes into marriage thinking that.
No, not at all.
And I would have never dreamed that, being friends with you guys.
Yes,
through that time.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But choices are made, and what I can say is on the other side of that, the redemptive story that God has given me is extraordinary.
Aw,
That's a whole nother,
so
that's all
nice.
maybe another conversation
awesome.
sometime, but that God is so good and takes and makes beauty from ashes.
Oh,
Yes.
love that.
Yes. So
That's okay.
anyway, our blended family, Eric and I knew each other, as you guys know, back in junior high and high school.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes. So after 30 years, you know, he contacted me, and you know, the story goes on from there. But what we're talking about today is how did we then take our families together and put them together? Because my kids are 30 and 28, and his are 19 and 17.
Wow.
So you've got this
10-year difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we got married, mine were 22 and 19. His were 11 and 9.
Wow.
Little.
And
A second family.
when I
Yeah.
wrote that down to kind of like go over this, I was like, oh my gosh, they were that little. and
And now they are what?
yeah, now they're 19 and 17.
So sweet. But just
yeah, so we navigated it, and so. But anyway, my son was already married. My daughter was in Arizona, and she ended up moving here. So anyway, one thing that we did, and it was like by accident or by God's provision or Providence. There you go. Was we got a dog.
A
We
puppy!
picked out a puppy,
Oh.
and I remember his kids really wanted a puppy, and I had dogs with my kids.
Yes.
So we Eric and I were sitting in our little study area in our house, and Maddie was sitting across from us. She's reading a book. She's probably 12 because we got him about a year after we got married. And I'm on my laptop and I'm looking all around, and she takes her book. She goes, "Are we getting a dog?" We're like, well, you know, we don't know, because it was quite a search. So we ended up picking out a puppy, and he has been the glue, a really good thing to do because he became all of ours.
Yes.
So
We
neat.
picked out the name. Everybody was invested in him because we had to take him out. We had to train him. We went to puppy school. And
And he is so cute.
Yes.
he's a she shampoo. So anyway, he's a doll. And then Eric and I never had children together, so he's
This
our
is your child.
fur
Yeah.
baby.
Oh,
and, then,
that's sweet.
and then you know Ashley moves back, and you know so now if Eric and I go away, either Matt or Harris comes stays at the house with them, or he goes to Ashley's. He goes to camp. You know,
Camp Ashley.
Camp
He's
Ashley.
a traveling dog.
He is, and
Oh,
he
that's so
really,
sweet.
and God is so good in the sense of Cooper is everybody's dog. Where some dogs they choose a person, and that's their special person.
Yes.
But he's like everybody's.
Oh,
Everybody's
what a great way to
dog.
bond the family.
It was. It really was. And then probably another thing that we've tried to do is have individual time with our own children,
Nice.
because you know you're all in love, you get married, and you're establishing this new home, and you have to think the kids are still maybe really hurting.
Yes.
This was tragedy in their lives.
Yes, it is.
And that's just being honest, and you as a parent or a step parent, you have to recognize that.
Yeah.
And I've tried as a stepmom to stay in my lane
Yeah.
and be
It's a fine dance.
it is to be sensitive to I've had other people say, well, you just need to do this or say that, and I'm like, no, it's not my place. So they have a mom.
Good for you.
She's a good mom.
Yes.
And so that was some things that now I would have concerns or issues, and I'd take them to Eric. I wouldn't take them to the
Good.
kids. You know,
Good.
so that's another tip I
Yeah,
would
so
say.
the parent
The
approach
parents,
thing.
and you know, and then you have to give your input and leave it there,
Yes.
and not demand your way.
Yes.
Try to cope as much as you can, because when you're blending two families, especially since I had already raised my kids, so I had a structure. I was very disciplined. I ran a tight ship. I had expectations of this and that, you know.
Yeah.
And so then you go in. Eric's he has fun.
Fun
You
guy.
can see that.
Fun guy.
He can dance.
He can,
With the kids.
yes, he has a good time, which is really great. And I think both of us needed a little bit
Yeah.
of each other.
Structure.
In the middle.
Mhm.
And the meeting in the middle.
That's
yeah.
a great story.
So,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
So that's So that's probably.
You know, when you brought up blended family, I kind of thought, oh gosh, how are we going to talk about this? Because we can't really say that. But the more I thought about it, I thought, wait, we do have a blended family. I have in-laws, you have in-laws. When you have in-laws, you have an immediate blended family. And so I went to the story in the Bible in Ruth chapter 1.
Oh, yeah.
And
Love that story.
Naomi and Elimelech had left Bethlehem because there was a famine. And they went across the Judean desert to Moab, and with their 2 sons, and settled there and made a life there. And Elimelech died, and the 2 sons married local girls. And so they continued to live there, but then the 2 sons died. So it was just Naomi and her 2 daughter-in-laws. And she learned that back in Bethlehem, the famine was over, God had provided, and she could go back to her people because she could live there again. And so she looked at the 2 daughters, and one was Orpah and one was Ruth, and she said, you girls have done right by me. Go back to your own mothers and be with your own family. And I truly get goosebumps.
You
when I
do.
think
She's
of
got
this.
them. She's
I
got
get
them.
goosebumps because Ruth said, no, where you go, I will go. Your people are my people. And she went across the desert with her mother-in-law, and God blessed that, and they had a life in Bethlehem. And so I think, you know, our in-laws are gifts. They truly are. And sometimes it's hard, and it could be rough around the corner because we want it to be our way, and we think they should be our way. But we need to love them. We need to reach out and appreciate them. Write them a sweet note. Do things for them to let them know that they're loved, because in-laws are a blended family.
Absolutely, and I think we all bring the family that we were raised in into the new family.
And think everybody's going to be like us.
Exactly. That's the expectation, and just being patient
And they have a lot to offer.
yes,
They can show you a different way, and so it's really enriching.
right, exactly.
Well, and my testimony is a little different from the time that Dan and I got married 35 years ago. We blended our families. We share every holiday together. And it was just kind of what we did. We
You
just,
guys were both from the same hometowns,
Yes.
and both in-laws were here.
yes, so we have gotten together for every Christmas, every
So the whole
holiday.
a whole
all
bunch
his
of-
sisters and my
Okay.
and I tell you, while like you said, their maybe traditions were different, we have blended them together, and it's really been a blessing. And as far as my in-laws, some mentor gave me really great advice one time, that just to love our in-laws as if they're our own children. And I don't call Elizabeth my daughter-in-law, I call her my daughter. And Zach and Michael, they're my sons. So I don't treat them any different than I treat my own children.
That's beautiful.
And I just think that bonds a better relationship within your families.
Yes. And you know, Janet, your family is so blessed that you gather all these people together every holiday.
Yeah, I'm a gatherer.
And
Come
yes,
on,
you
come
are. And all the work that you go to host everybody is such a blessing to those around you. And you may not be told that, but it's incredible.
Well, it's just something I like to do. But the other thing about blended families, I've been the privilege of being a part of Family Life, and they have a guy named Ron Deal, and he has written over 17 books on blended step families, meaning more through marriage, you know, maybe through divorce. And I just really encourage you, if that's an area where you want more resources, look to Family Life today Ron Deal. There's 17 books on being the smart stepmom, the smart stepdad, and all those things.
Isn't that great?
So I've heard his teachings. They're really, really powerful and good.
And I think a blended family that maybe some don't think about because this happened with me before Eric and I got married. I have a very dear friend, like a sister, out in Arizona, and I, as a single person, was blended into her family when I didn't have a
Isn't
big
that
family
lovely?
to go to.
To be sensitive to those around
So
you.
that's an opportunity that if you have this big, beautiful family and you do gather or whatever, include someone who
Doesn't have a family.
doesn't have a family here, maybe even here, or a single mom or a single dad with their children,
Yes.
of how you can minister to them and just scoop them up. And that's what the family of God is supposed to be
Absolutely.
And
about.
for them to have witness to what maybe they're not having at home, what a bigger family looks like,
Yes.
so that they
Gives
have
them joy.
joy and
And
something to
you're
go
very
after.
good at that.
Well,
you're very good at that.
I have people like that in my life
Yes.
because I want them to have examples of
Yes.
what that can look like for
Yes.
them in their futures.
And sometimes, to be honest, when you are that blend going into that, especially initially after a divorce, it can be just excruciatingly painful
Yes.
because you're like, I used to have something like this, but that's gone, and I don't know if I'll ever have that again.
Yes.
And so, because I remember going to church and just sitting there and looking at all the couples and the families around the church, and that was like,
So somebody should grab you and say, come sit with us. That's another way to reach out to people. So, yeah. Well, this has been a beautiful topic, ladies.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Hey, just remember, a joyful heart is good medicine. And watch out, because next episode, we're going to talk about decorating trends that